Hello, everyone, and welcome to the part 16 of this Amazon Bedrock AgentCore series. In our lab today, we will create a Docker-based agent that will invoke an OAuth gateway, which in turn will call a Lambda tool. Now, all the way until now, we have created agents using the startup toolkit. This is the first time that we will create a Docker-based agent. I had actually received a comment, actually a request, you can say, from one of the viewers that, hey, please show how to create an agent using Docker. So let's go ahead with this lab and we will learn exactly how this thing works. I'm personally extremely excited. So let's get started. Prerequisite for this lab is knowledge of Amazon Bedrock AgentCore Gateway. Hence, if you do not know how this particular module works, please refer to this AWS tutorial that I had created some time back. The URL is mentioned right here at the bottom. It will also be mentioned in the description of this video. So in this lab, we are going to focus on this end-to-end connectivity. I will not go into the details as to how an AgentCore gateway works and how tools work. Okay, so it's a given that you understand how this thing works. These are some reference URLs, and also I have mentioned URLs for playlists on my channel. So I have a playlist for Bedrock and AgentCore. And as I create additional tutorials and labs, I will have them added to these playlists. Please refer to these URLs as they have additional information on this particular topic. These URLs will be mentioned in the description of this video. Now, let's get to the scenario of this lab. So in our lab today, we are going to create an Amazon Bedrock AgentCore agent. Now, this agent, as I said earlier, will run on Docker. This agent is going to use an OAuth token to call an AgentCore gateway, which in turn invokes a simple, that is non-MCP based Lambda tool. So I've tried to depict this, pictorially. So you have your agent. Remember, it's a Docker agent. It is based on ARM. This agent uses an OAuth token to invoke your AgentCore gateway, which in turn uses an IAM role to call your Lambda function. Now, if you have completed part 15, that is the part prior to this part we have already done. Okay, so the communication between an AgentCore gateway and its tool, that's a Lambda function, we've already done this. We will do this again today, but this time the complexity increases because now we have an agent that has to call this gateway. And then, of course, this gateway behind the scenes will call or invoke this particular Lambda. So I hope that this scenario is clear. It's a very simple and a straightforward scenario. It is one of those scenarios that you will face in your day-to-day life, okay, as a developer, as an engineer, as an architect, or as a technology leader. You will face a scenario at some point in time. Now, the source code for this lab is available on my GitHub. So this is my GitHub repo URL. This is a public repo. And in fact, I have it open right here. As you can see, the source code for all the parts, and this is part 16. So this is the source code for part 16. So let me click on that. And this is a Docker-based agent with OAuth gateway and Lambda tool. As you can see, the entire source code is being given over here. So feel free to fork the repo, or you, as I said, it's a public repo, so it's totally up to you how you want to leverage this source code. The first step is environment setup. Now, I always do my labs on a fresh EC2 instance. I do not like to basically, mess up my laptop. It gets convoluted. So I'm going to provision an Ubuntu EC2 instance. Now, this is absolutely critical, okay? If you miss or mess this step, it will go for a toss. You have to provision an ARM64 instance. Do not provision an x86. Because if you provision an x86 when you are creating your Docker image, it goes for a toss. The ECR container repository, the one that you can use with AgentCore, has to be ARM64. That's what is compatible. If it's x86, it will not take that container and you will get an error. It will simply not work. Yes, are there workarounds? Yes, there are workarounds. But that workaround, from my experience, I can tell you, is going to be absolutely painful. In fact, I would just tell you, delete that particular instance or get yourself an ARM64 instance and then go further ahead. It will make your life way much easier. So what we are going to do is I'm going to provision an Ubuntu EC2 instance that is going to be T4G Micro. Yes, this is a smaller instance with lesser processing power and lesser memory and with 10 gigabytes of disk space. Now, this is a Graviton instance, and these instances can be very expensive. So hence you see that I have provisioned a much smaller instance. Yes, it will be slow, but we have to keep the cost under control. So go ahead and provision this instance and then execute all the commands in setupcommands.txt. So let me quickly go to my console. This is my console. Go to EC2. And as I said, this is a critical step, so I'm going to show this to you. Go to launch instance. Okay, AWS is running slow today. And you can say my EC2 or whatever name that you like. Choose Ubuntu. Ubuntu server 24.04 is fine. Instance type. Okay. Okay, description. So over here, if you see there's an architecture drop down, this should not be x86, this should be ARM. Ensure that you make this change and confirm these changes. So confirm the changes. Okay. Let's go ahead. Seriously, this is slow today. Okay. So as you see, it is 64-bit ARM. This is an absolute must. Do not miss this step because when you try to push your container, in fact, after pushing your container, when you're trying to create your agent, it will not take an x86 agent. It has to be ARM. We are going to use T4G Micro. It is free tier eligible. As you see, it has 2 CPUs and 1 gigabit of memory, or gigabyte of memory, sorry. And we have our key pair. Scroll down. I'm going to increase the disk space from 8 to 10. You can leave it 8 as well. I'm just trying to provision a little more. And I think everything else remains the same. And then click on launch instance. Okay, and let me see if I can go to my key pair. I'm going to go to PuTTY right here. And instance has been launched. We will now SSH into this particular instance. So copy, paste it right there. I like to increase my font size. It's totally up to you if you want to do it or not. SSH, credentials, browse. and select your private key. Open, accept, Ubuntu, hit enter. Clear the screen. So we have connected to our EC2 instance. Now the next step is to go over here. This is our repo, and this is commands, and we have set up commands.txt. Go in over here, and you will see there are a whole lot of commands right here. Okay. All you need to do is copy this command, right click, copy, and execute it here. Now, I could have technically created a script out of this. The reason I don't do that is because if one of the commands fails, sometimes it does fail, then basically, rollbacking the whole thing can be a nightmare. And it has been a nightmare for me in the past. So I like to basically execute one command at a time and then continue further ahead. So just copy the command as I did and hit enter. Now, you can see there are a whole lot of commands over here. Of course, these are just, comments that should be evident. So simply copy this part of the command and execute it. So I'm not going to copy and execute all the commands while I'm recording. I will stop the recording. I will execute all of these commands on my end and then basically resume the recording. Okay, so this should be pretty straightforward. It is not difficult at all. Just copy and paste the command right here on your EC2 instance. We want to ensure that our environment is ready for the lab. Okay, so let us continue further ahead. So I'm going to pause the recording, execute all the commands, and then come back. So I have executed all the commands except for this last one, and I'm going to execute this one now. Okay, so where is my terminal? So clear the screen and platforms. Now this is absolutely important. What we are looking for over here is Linux ARM64. This is an absolute must. If you do not get this, do not proceed ahead. But if you followed all the steps, then you will get this. This is an absolute must for Docker. Okay. So I have personally completed all of this and thereby completed step 1. Now let's move on to step 2. In our step 2, we are going to create a simple Lambda function. And I've given the source code over here as well. So okay, I added some comments over here. So I'm going to just commit these changes into my GitHub repo. And now let's go back, go to Lambda. This is a source code for our Lambda. Okay, so I'm going to copy the source code. Okay, so we are going to create a simple Lambda function. Go over here, go to Lambda. And of course, if you want to create a complex function or you want to kind of call an external API or something, you're more than welcome to do that. Here, all that we are trying to do is focus on the end-to-end connectivity. So I'm going to say get city weather or something, whatever name that you like, you can give that. Runtime is going to be Python 12. So Python 12. This can be either, it's up to you. It really doesn't matter. And so you could use ARM64 or x86 is completely fine. Create function. And after the function gets created, we will copy our code and then deploy this Lambda function. Okay, now scroll down. And this is where we will paste our source code. AWS is seriously slow today. Okay, so this is the default handler. So what we are going to do is Control A, Control V, and we have copied our source code right here. As you see, it's a simple Lambda function that returns weather for a city. Now, of course, as I said, you can put your logic inside, make it as complex as you want. Right now, we are going to keep it simple. We are going to go ahead and deploy this particular function. Okay, and it has been deployed. Now we will basically go and copy the ARN of our Lambda function. So this is the ARN right here. Copy that. I do have my notepad open. I'm going to paste it right there. Okay, so we have completed step 2. Now it's time to create our gateway. So we will go to Bedrock AgentCore Gateways, create gateway, give our gateway a name. We are going to use OAuth, so we are going to use JWT, and we will basically use Cognito. Then we will provision a new service role, copy the name of the service role, and then provide a target name for our tool. Now you can give my weather tool or you can give any other name that you like. And then we will continue further ahead by basically replacing the target tools ARN with our lambdas ARN. Okay, so let's go there. So this is AgentCore. Go to gateways, create gateway. Now you can give anything, that you like over here as the name. So you can say there you go, my weather gateway. I can give my weather gateway. I think that's a decent name. Okay. You can copy that as the description as well. Okay. Then scroll down. Over here, we are going to give our Lambda function. So if you see now, okay, so request, this is the interceptor, sorry. It's the interceptor Lambda function. Okay, they changed this particular UI. Okay, nice. This was not there yesterday. Lucky me. It's an optional string for MCP server. So this is what I don't like. When you go over there, then suddenly, hey, there is something new that has come in to basically work with. Earlier, you had to, paste your Lambda interceptor over here, or you had to figure out how you wanted to create the gateway. So, okay, it is there at the bottom. Okay, got it. They've added this additional instructions on the top. So leave all of this. Don't get confused like how I did. I'm seeing this for the first time today. And as I said, the site was running a little slow. So I believe they are doing deployments while I record this. Anyways, let's continue further ahead. So leave all of this. We are going to use the JWT token. It is going to be Cognito. We are going to create a new service role and we are going to copy the name of this service role and paste it right there. Okay, so this is our gateway and this is our Lambda. Scroll down, and this is where we are going to give our target name. So we can say my weather tool. That's a good name. You can give that as the description if you like. And in our case, it is going to be a Lambda ARN. And this is where we will provide our Lambda ARN. So if you see over here, it has dollar latest towards the end. It is actually colon dollar latest. So we will keep that as it is. But what we are going to paste over there is our Lambda ARN. So copy this and paste it right there. Okay. We are going to give an inline schema. So now we have to continue further ahead. So what we have done till now are all of these steps until pasting our ARN. So we've completed these steps. Now we have to define an inline schema. We have to copy our schema. And then our for outbound authorizations, it's going to be IAM role. And then we will go ahead and create our gateway. After our gateway has been provisioned, we will copy our gateway's ARN and URL. So let me go to the repo over here. In fact, this has to go back. Okay, so now go back here, go to gateway. This is our gateway inline schema. Click on that. Click on this copy raw file. Come back over here and paste it right there. Okay, so we are good. And IAM role is good. And we are going to click on create gateway. Let me just review everything. So Lambda ARN is there. A schema is there, Lambda ARN. We have given name for our target tool. We have copied the service role. And all of this is new, so let it be. And we have also given our gateway name. So I believe we are good to go. So click on create gateway. And be patient. It will take some time. Okay, as it's saying, the provisioning has started. It takes a few seconds, and there it is. It has successfully provisioned our gateway. So now let's go ahead and copy our gateway ARN. I'm going to paste it right here under gateway, and then our gateway URL. See, and it ends with MCP, okay? And if you want, you can also copy the ARN of your IAM role. Okay, so we have completed all of these steps. Okay, so we are good to go. So step 3 has been completed. You don't need to make any changes to this particular IAM role. Okay, whatever has been provisioned is good for this lab. Step 4. Now in step 4, we need to get our client ID, our client secret, our domain name, and our custom scope. So we need 4 things. And we are going to get all of these 4 things. In fact, if you actually, there's a link somewhere here. I think it's discovery URL. Yeah, there you go. A lot of these things are actually even revealed over here. For example, you will be, if I can only zoom in a little bit, there it is. So you will be able to see, here's the domain name if you see. Okay, so, but rather than copying it from here, we will copy it from Cognito. But I just wanted to showcase this to you that, hey, some of this information is available right here. In fact, there should also be a token URL. There you go, token endpoint right there. Okay, so this is actually your token URL as well. The entire URL has been given over here. And we will be using this token URL to basically get our OAuth token. Okay. So anyways, let's go back and let's go to Cognito. So I'm going to go back over here. We will go to Cognito. I have it in my favorites. And let's go to the source and get the very same information from there as well, because that's actually how you should be getting it. So this is my user pool. As you can see, it was created 2 minutes ago. Okay. And Scroll down, go to app clients. This is your client name. Go inside and copy your client ID. So copy this client ID. Always paste it. If you are like me, you forget things. I always paste it and keep it here. And copy the client secret. Also paste it right there. So we have completed step 1 over here. Now we need to get a domain name. Now we already saw the domain name over here, but this is where the domain name is actually available. If you go to branding, you go to domain. This is where your domain name is. So copy that and paste it right there. Okay, this is your domain name. If you see, this is exactly the domain name that we had seen earlier. Now this thing is hiding behind my share screen, but if you see, this is the domain name right here. Okay, so this is the domain name. If you can see, this is the same domain that you have over here. Okay, so we got our domain name. Now we need to get a custom scope. So for that, you go to applications, you go to app clients, you go to login pages, and then manage login pages. You can click on edit and get your custom scope. I believe it has now even exposed outside. So let's go to your applications, app clients. This is your app client. If you go to login pages, this is login pages right here. And there it is. See, now it's also available over here. So you can actually copy the custom scope from here itself. Okay. So custom scope. Okay. And then paste it right there. Another place where this is available is earlier it was not here, but now it is over here. I saw this yesterday. You can also click on edit and there it is. So you can also copy the custom scope from here as well. Okay. So we have got all of this information. So we have completed step 4. Now let us go ahead and create an IAM role for our EC2 instance. Now remember that this role is the one that is going to execute a lot of these activities and commands. So it has to have the required access to do that. For example, it needs full access to Amazon Bedrock. Remember, you're going to create your container and push your container into the ECR, the repository. So it needs access to that. You always want your EC2 instance to have access to CloudWatch logs for any kind of debugging. And then plus I've created a custom policy as well. Remember to replace your gateway ARN. Once we have created this role, then we will attach this role to our EC2 instance. And we will also verify whether it has been attached or not. Okay, so we are not using an identity or a user. Remember that we did not configure a CLI. We did not use AWS configure. We're going to use this EC2 role. Hence, you need to ensure that this role is active and attached. So let us go now and create that role. So this is IAM right here. We will create a new role over here. Okay, so let's create a new role. AWS service, EC2, click on next. Permission. So Amazon Bedrock full access is right there. Remember, you want CloudWatch logs full access as well. And then the third one is Amazon EC2 container registry full access. And then click on next. We'll give it this role a name. So let's say my Ubuntu EC2 instance role instance exec role or something like that. You can give any name that you like. Leave the trusted entities as it is. These are the three built-in policies that we have attached. So right here, 1, 2, 3, all of these. Once the role has been created, then we will attach our inline policy. Okay, post that. So go ahead, click on create role. Click on view role over here. Copy the role ARN. So this is the role ARN right there. And I'm going to paste it right here. So EC2 instance role, paste it right there. Okay, so these policies have been attached. Now we will create an inline policy. Okay, click on JSON. Go back over here and go to policies, EC2 IAM role policy right there. This is the policy. Copy this policy. And remember that we have to replace our gateway ARN. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down. It tends to hide behind my. Oh. Okay, this is the one. So I'm going to copy this right there. And if you see, this is where we have to replace our gateway ARN. So let me go back. And where is that? Okay, it's right here. Sorry. My gateway ARN. This is my gateway ARN. So copy this and replace it. I'm going to remove everything, paste it right there. Everything else looks good. I don't need to replace anything else. Control A, Control C. Go back over here. Control A, Control V. Click on visual. Okay, no errors. Next, say my Ubuntu EC2 instance exec role policy. Okay, you can give any name as you like, but I'm just going to be consistent. Okay, so our policy has been created. So we have completed this particular step. We have replaced our gateway ARN. Now we need to attach this role to our EC2 instance. So let's go back to our EC2 instance. So click on EC2. We will select our instance. So go to instances. Select this particular instance. Go to actions, security, modify IAM role. Select your role. This is the role, my Ubuntu EC2 instance exec role. Update IAM role. Now, generally, it will take a few seconds for the EC2 instance to be updated. Remember, our instance is running right now. This role has been attached. And after a few seconds, what we will do is we will basically verify whether the role is active and attached to our EC2 instance. And this is the command for that. You can simply just type it. Okay, so let me, since I already have it typed out, I'm going to go over here. It's AWS STS. Okay. And go back over here. Identity. And this is our instance role, as you see. So our role has been attached and it is active. Okay, so now this EC2 instance has all those permissions that we just provisioned through this particular role. So we have completed step 5. Don't skip this step, okay? It is very critical for you to ensure that this role has been attached to your EC2 instance. So ensure that you check the caller identity. Now we have to get our OAuth token, and we are going to use this utility to get our token. Okay, so right now we are not making a dynamic. I'm showing you how to get the token. Yes, in real life, let's say if you are working in a production environment, you can make this dynamic. So let's go ahead and go to this particular, uh, you know, Python file. So go over here, go to our gateway, get OAuth token, and this is that particular piece of code. I'm just going to copy this piece of code. Now go over here. We are finished with this, so remove this, paste this piece of code right there. What all do we need to do over here? We need to replace 4 things. As you see, replace, 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 and replace. So the 4 places where you will see replace in this particular file. First is our token URL. I already showed you how to get the token URL. All that you need is a domain name. You already have your client ID, you have your client secret, and you already have your custom scope. So let us use this particular utility to get the token. So I'm going to go now and copy my domain. This is my domain. So Control C, go back over here and click and paste domain. Come on, paste it right there. Okay, now go and get your client ID. Simple. I'm going to move this sharing business on the side. Okay, where is my client ID? This is my client ID, and then finally my secret. So my secret is right there. Paste it. And the last one is my custom scope. So this is my custom scope. Control C. And my custom scope over here. Okay, so we have made all the 4 replacements. Control A, Control C. And we are now going to go to our EC2 instance and create a file over here. So let's say vi get auth token.py, hit enter, hit I, right click, everything got pasted, escape :WQ. Now we will basically run this. So Python get auth token. Is it Python? Is Python 3? I think it is Python 3. Python 3 get auth token, hit enter. And this is your auth token. Copy the token. Always keep it handy. So auth token. And I'm going to paste it right there. Okay, so this is our auth token. We'll remove all the extra space. So this is the auth token. So we have completed step 6. Now we just want to double check the name of our tool. Okay, this is more of a a sanitary check. We don't want to get the wrong name. We don't want to use the wrong name of our tool as well. So we are going to use this utility to get the name of our tool, the name that the gateway exposes and not the name that we think it is. Okay, so always use this utility, guys. Otherwise, you can spend hours, literally hours, debugging this. So get the right name of the tool and then proceed further ahead. So again, we will go to list tools in our source code. So let me go back and go to gateway, list tools.py right there. Copy this piece of code and now go back to your notepad. So we already did this. So remove this, paste this right here. What we need to replace over here is our gateway and our token. Okay, and everything else remains the same. So our gateway URL. What is my gateway? So I actually have the token over here. So let me copy the token first. Control C. and Control V. There you go, no spaces. And my gateway URL will be somewhere at the top. Remember, it ends with MCP. So copy this URL, paste it right there. Okay, so both of your replacements have been done. Control A, Control C. Now go back to your EC2 instance and say vi list tools.py. Copy this piece of code over here. Okay, this is not. What happened to this? Okay, this is not right. Okay, let me recreate this. Copy, paste. Okay, something is happening. Okay. Sometimes this thing messes up. Okay, Control A, Control C. I think it's not probably scrolling up on the top. Let me. Okay, so I'm hoping that I pasted properly over here. Okay, sorry. I don't think I was able to scroll up earlier for whatsoever reason. Sorry. Okay, save this particular file, hit enter, and now let us execute this. So Python 3 list tools.py. And now you will see this is the name of your tool. So copy that, always paste it over here. So paste it. And one thing I want to bring to your attention, this is 1 underscore, 2 underscore, 3 underscores. So there are 3 underscores, and this is the name of your tool, my weather tool underscore 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 my weather tool. This is the name of the tool, the actual name of the tool, okay, that the gateway exposes. This is the name of the tool that you need to use when you are invoking the tool, okay? So keep this handy over here. Okay, so we have completed step 7 and we have got the name of our tool. Now it is time to create our Docker agent. So our Lambda is ready, our gateway is ready, we have our OAuth token, we have our tool name, we have practically everything that we need. So now let us go ahead and create our agent. So we are going to create a Docker agent this time. Earlier, all the agents that we have created using the starter toolkit. This time it's going to be a Docker agent. Okay, so first let us create a project directory, and the commands are in agentcommands.txt. So let me go back over here and go to your commands file. There's agentcommands.txt, and this is the command to create a project directory. So copy that, come back over here, clear the screen. Okay, and then change to that particular directory. Copy that, paste it right here. So we have completed step 1. We have created this directory successfully, our project directory. Now we will copy the code and create app.py. So let us first go and look at it. So let me go back over here, go to the top folder. Now remember, we are working on our agent now. So agent code. There is app.py, so app.py. Click on that. Copy the code from here. And now let us go to our notepad. Okay, now of course you can use VS Code. I think I have VS Code open. Do I have VS Code open? There it is. It becomes a little easier to highlight in VS Code. So I'm going to basically paste it right here. So what all do we need to replace over here? I think everything else is there. Yes. So if you have given a different tool name, please check your tool name. Okay. This is the tool name. And since I had given my weather tool, I have my weather tool. Remember the 3 underscores. This is very important. And my weather tool. So my tool name is correct. But if you have given a different tool name, please make the changes over here. Copy the tool name and paste it right here. I am using US East 1. This is my region. If you're using a different region, then please change the region. Okay. We are going to create environment variables for our gateway URL and our OAuth token. So we don't need to paste it in our code. I think everything else looks good. So we are good to go. Okay. So Control A, Control C. Okay. And go back over here. And sorry, where is that? There it is. So vi app.py, hit enter, right click, everything has been pasted. WQ. Okay, I think I got some special characters over here, but I don't think that should make a difference. Otherwise, you know what? I will basically, after this lab, I will remove some of these special characters. I think these were inserted by Amazon Q when I was working with it to optimize the code. So I will get some of these special characters out. Okay, in fact, you know what? Let me undo. And do I have special characters in my... Okay. Yeah, there are special characters over here. I will get these special characters removed after this lab. I don't think they should make any difference, but okay. So we have created our app.py. And where it is... Okay, so app.py has been created. Now we have a requirements.txt. So now let us go back to agent code, requirements.txt, copy this, and vi requirements.txt. Paste it right there, :wq. And so we've completed this step. So these 3 steps are finished. Now we have to create our Docker file. Let us go back to our source code. Go over here. Where is our AgentCore Docker file? Now this Docker file is absolutely critical. So let's copy this file. Let me go back, Docker file, paste it right there. Now, this is what you have on the top. And what I want to bring to your attention is this. This entry point over here is an absolutely critical statement. Okay? If you are using a different file other than app.py, please make these changes. Of course, you'll also have to make changes on the top as well. Try to stick to it. But if you do not have this particular statement, your container will start, but your agent will not work. And you will typically see a behavior when the container just keeps on restarting and restarting and goes into some kind of a loop. So this is the most critical statement in this Docker file. Okay, so copy this file. We don't have to make any replacements over here. Yes, as I said, if you're using a different name, then make the replacement, but otherwise you're good to go. So Control A, Control C, go back over here, vi Docker file. Okay, save the file. So we have completed this step. Now we have to go and execute, create and then execute our deployment script. So to make your life easy, I have created a deployment script. Okay, you will also have to change the permissions of the script and then execute it. This deployment script will build the container and push the container into your ECR repo. Now, if you want, and this is my recommendation, if you want, one thing that you can do, I think I had my litmus test somewhere. If you want, what you can do is you can check if you can log in into ECR or not. If your EC2 instance user has that access or not. This is just a litmus test, okay? We will go to the deployment script as well. This is just to ensure that it works. Now, this same command is actually over here. Let me go to the deployment script. This is a deploy.sh. The same command is actually over here as well. Where is the command? I'm trying to look for it. Hold on. Here, right here. So you can see, in fact, if I highlight it in VS Code, it'll be easier for you to see. Logging into your ECR. Just replace the region, and your account ID. The command is already ready. Okay, it's not $region. Just remove the whole $region, $account ID, and create the command. This is a litmus test. If you want to do it before executing this entire script, this is just to ensure that your script will run successfully. So what I have done is I've actually copied this command. Let me copy it again. Okay. And I have already, to just speed things up, made the replacements, if you can see. This is my account ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically run this litmus test. So go back over here, clear the screen, and hit enter. Now, if your EC2 instance role has access, etc., you will get login succeeded. Okay, let's hit enter. There you go. So we are good to go. So now I can execute my deployment script to build the Docker image and to push the Docker container into ECR confidently. Okay, this is the same command over here. Now in your Docker script, you need to replace your account ID and your region. Now I am using the repo name as weather agent. If you want to use a different name, then you will have to make these changes in the script. Stick to this name right now, okay? But yes, add your or replace your account ID and your region. And this is the same script that is there over here. So let me actually copy this. Go back over here, Control A, Control V. Okay, and let's now replace the account ID. So I'm going to copy my account ID since I have it over here. Control C, Control V, and the region. My region is US East 1. You can use any region that you like. There you go. Okay, and now we are good to go. So we will Control A, Control C, copy this entire deployment script, go back over here, clear the screen, and then say vi deploy.sh, hit enter, copy the script, :WQ, and we are good to go. Now, before we execute this script, we have to change the permissions. So copy this particular command. This command is available in your agent commands.txt right here. Okay, so copy this command. You can even type it if you like. It's pretty simple. And paste it right there. Hit enter. That's it. Now we are good to go. We are good to run our deployment script. So copy this and paste it right there. So both these commands are available in your agentcommands.txt. So if I go over here, go to commands, agentcommands.txt is right here. So now let us go ahead and actually execute this. So hit enter. So it is actually now building our Docker image, our Docker container. And then it was going to push a Docker container to ECR. Okay, so be patient. This step will take time. We already know that our EC2 instance role has access to ECR. It has the ability to even create a ECR repository. So there it is. It has been push to ECR. As you can see, container push to ECR. This is the name of your container. Okay, always remember this. It ends with DCF. If you see over here, when I'm highlighting this thing ends with DCF. That is the container. This is the latest container that you are looking for. And on the top, if you see, our repository has been created. This is the ARN of our repository. Okay, so our repository has been created and our container has been pushed to our repository. So we have completed step 8. So now our container is ready. Now this container has to be used to create an AgentCore agent. So let us go ahead and do that. Now let's go back over here. Let's go over here and go to AgentCore. And over here, we will go to runtime and create our agent. Okay, so host agent / tool. And we have to give a name for our agent. Now, I'm going to give Docker weather agent. You can give anything that you like. Okay. Our source code is not an S3 anymore. We are not using the starter toolkit. We have not even created a zip this time. We are going to use an ECR container. Okay, so choose ECR container, click on browse images. Remember our repo name is weather agent and the latest repository or the image in the repository ends with DCF. This is the latest container image. So select that. So it is DCF. This is the same one that we saw over here. Remember DCF. So select this. Okay. This is the new service role that it will create. So copy the name of this service role. This is the agent's service role. And where is my notepad? This is my notepad. So always make agent service role, okay? So paste the name of the role right there. Come back over here. Inbound authentication, we are good. It's IAM permissions. Now, we have, given our agent name. Container is ECR. We've chosen our image. We need to now set these environment variables. So our gateway URL and our OAuth token. So let us now do that. So go to environment variables, click on add variable, and over here it is going to be, what is the name of the variable? Gateway URL. Okay, so I'm going to say gateway not token, but okay. Gateway URL. Okay, this should be the same name that is there in our source code. This is the one that I have in my source code. This is one. And the second one is OAuth token. So OAuth token. Now let us go and copy the values. Okay, so this is our OAuth token. So I'm going to copy the value, paste it right there. So paste. And our gateway URL, that's the one that ends with MCP. So this is the one. And paste it right there. And now we have everything that we need. So we have finished this. After the agent has been created, it will actually give us an option to update our agent's IAM role. That's when we will use this particular policy to update our agent's IAM role. Okay. So scroll down, click on host agent. So it's creating it now. Now, if you had not used an ARM64 image, as I mentioned earlier, this is the place where you will get an error. Okay, if it's an x86, this will simply not accept it. So if you are getting an error over here, then please go back and check your Docker image. Okay, check that container. It has to be ARM64. So this is the option that it is giving. Update your IAM execution role. Click on this option. And now we will go and update our IAM's roles policy. You will see that there will be a policy over here, right there. Click on this policy. And scroll down, go to JSON, click on edit. And this is the existing policy. Okay. This is the existing policy. It has most of the stuff over here. Now go back over here to your GitHub repo, go to policies, go to agent role, that is agent IAM role.json over here. Copy this raw file and now go to your notepad, paste this right here. You will see you have a bunch of things to replace. So you have account ID. So review through the policy. Again, account ID over here. Okay. And what else do you have? You have account ID at a bunch of places, and you have your ECR repo ARN. Now your ECR repo ARN is actually available. Where is that thing? Okay, now it's hiding behind my share. Okay, so there it is. I just have to move the share up. Okay. So this is your ECR repo ARN. So copy this ECR repo ARN from here and then go back here and paste it right there. And everything else is your account ID. Okay. So what you want to do is Control H account ID. This is my account ID. Okay. So if you see over here, this is my account ID. Replace this with your account ID and say replace all. Okay. So it's replaced all of them. So as you see, my account ID has been replaced everywhere. Scroll down just to double check that you have your account ID replaced everywhere. Okay, so our policy is good to go. Okay, so Control A, Control C, go back over here, Control A, Control V, and go to Visual. Our policy is good. Click on Next and save changes. So we are good to go. Our agent policy now has the ability to invoke our gateway to get the image and then basically eventually execute our tool. So now we are ready to test. So this is the input text. This is how your text should go. Okay. And this is the expected response. So whatever, your whether Lambda function is going to return you a canned response for whatever city that you have. So let us now try and test our agent. So this time around, we are going to test our agent using the console. So go back over here, go to your agent. Let us check if our agent is ready. So agent is ready. If you want, you can always have the logs going. Okay, I think I have a lot of windows open up on the top. So I'm going to close some of these. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. Okay, I don't need this one. This is CloudWatch. Okay. So we have, this is CloudWatch. You can start tailing if you like. Okay, and then come back over here. select your default endpoint, click on test endpoint. And now we have to test it. So this is how your input should be. It is 2 braces and then input and the text. So since I have it typed out for myself, I'm just going to copy it. In fact, where is it? Okay, so let me just copy it. It's pretty simple. I think you should be able to type it out yourself. Go back over here and paste it right there. Let me just check. So a brace, and between these 2 braces, you have input, colon, and this. In fact, you know what? I can actually create a file over here, say sample input or something. Let me do that. So sample input.txt, commit changes. Okay, cancel. Let me just paste it right there. Okay. So that way you will have a sample. Okay, so use the sample input txt so you can also copy and paste it. Now let's go back. And where's my, there it is. Okay. And now let's click on run. And this should behind the scenes call our agent, call our gateway, and then basically our gateway should invoke our Lambda function. So let's click on run. And there it is. This is what we were expecting. This is coming from our Lambda function. So 72 degrees Fahrenheit, sunny, and mock weather service. Okay, so let me now quickly, this is CloudWatch logs. You can look at the logs as well. You will see an HTTP request over here with success 200. If you actually want, you can go to your Lambda function. I'm going to open my Lambda function over here. Go to get city weather. And we will make a subtle change to this function. And let's say what change we will make. We'll probably change one of the attributes real quick. Let's say we'll make it 22 degrees and we will make it flurries and deploy this. It is actually kind of flurrying outside, a little bit of snow in New York City today. So a little bit of flurries. It's not crazy though. Now we can go back and say, what is the weather in Chicago? And run this again. And as you can see, you have Chicago 22 flurries. So it is actually calling our Lambda function behind the scenes. So what we have accomplished today, okay, just to go back to a scenario, is this. We created our agent. We are using an OAuth token to invoke our gateway. This gateway is using an IAM role to call a Lambda function. And what we did is we tested our agent using the console. So we have basically depicted this entire workflow working end to end. Okay, and this time around, we created our agent using Docker. So it's a Docker image, it's a container that has been pushed to ECR, and we are basically loading that container and calling our agent, and that agent is eventually calling our gateway and our Lambda function behind the scenes. So guys, I hope that this lab was helpful. Okay. Most importantly, don't forget to delete all your resources. So delete your gateway, your agent, your roles, your policies. Of course, terminate your EC2 instance. Delete your ECR repo, your Lambda function, and your Cognito user pool. do not falter or default on not deleting your resources. Okay. Some of these resources are very expensive, but of course, when you have to learn, you have to use these resources, you have to use these services. But after you've finished learning, please delete all of your resources. Okay. So all these resources that you've provisioned, please ensure that you unprovision these resources. So guys, this is it from me today. I hope that this lab was helpful. Do execute this lab, post your comments. See, when you post your comments, I get some feedback, and that feedback basically, motivates me. The reason I created a Docker agent today is because someone had posted a comment that, hey, can you show how to create an agent using Docker? So do post your comments. I do read your comments. I do have a full-time job, so I don't get a lot of time, but do post your comments. And if you like this video, please do like, subscribe, and most importantly, just like how I share my knowledge with all of you, remember to share this video with your friends, with your colleagues, so that they can also learn and all of us can grow our knowledge together. Okay? So one candle that lights another candle loses absolutely nothing. So thank you very much and have a great day. Bye-bye.